Hi, everyone, and welcome to She. I know I say this every week, but today's show, guys, is going to be so lit. You want to get your, is it popcorn? You need popcorn because it's going to be that amazing. And you need to call all your girlfriends and make sure they're just right here on She with you. And you know what? If you're listening on radio or on TV, we feel you. If you're listening on radio, we'll make you feel like you're here with us. Yes. We are all in black and red. So you get the picture, you know, and just please keep it here because this is so important. It will change your life. And as I always say, I went shopping, I went looking up and down, got the ladies who will make sure the topic today is well dealt with. Today we're talking about sleep training. I know, and I know there's so many stories out there about what works, what doesn't. Yeah. I have a friend who says she raises her kids like free-range chicken. Sleep training for who, you know? But, you know, other people think you must sleep train, kids must, no eye contact as the baby is going to sleep and all those things. So we'll break all those down today. And at the end, we'll know what works, what doesn't, because these ladies are moms as well. And so they've tried it or not on their children. I think I've said enough, so let me introduce my amazing guests. Drum rolls, please introduce yourselves. Look at you guys giving yourselves the drum.
We have to. We have to. For applause in this
I know, you have to applaud yourself.
Give it to yourself.
Yes, 100% yes.
That is so true.
Yes.
Let's start with you. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm Kate Kiarie. I'm a sleep coach and a content creator.
Like there's something like a sleep coach?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, there are. And in fact, in Kenya, I think there's 3 or 4. Yes. I only know of one other one. But I've heard that there might be more.
Oh, wow.
Yes. It's not new. It's only new in Kenya.
Yeah.
And thank God it's not even new in Kenya anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. That's
I
really
spent a lot of time educating people. Yeah, so I'm a mom. I have two children, and I'm married. Whenever I say I've been with my husband 18 years, nobody believes me.
Wow. 18?
18 years?
Yes.
Did you get married when you were 18?
I was 25.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
I was 25 when I got married, but yeah. So
maybe we need to have another show about getting married young, because I have a few thoughts about that.
Is that young? Is that young?
Yes, it is.
Everybody told me I was young, and I just didn't feel it. I didn't feel it.
You were ready.
I was ready. I was ready, and I had already known him. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. 18 years. That's beautiful as well, just in this day and age with everything that's happening.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Something to be grateful for as well.
Absolutely.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice
and
to
welcome
meet
to
you.
She.
Thank you.
Hi. Thank you, Faye, for having me. My name is Christine Mungai, a mother of 3, a stay-home mom, but also doing entrepreneurial jobs at the side. I say my kids, they're my boss, technically, so they come first.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm so excited because for me, I failed on sleep training. I'm here to learn. I'm not gonna lie.
Tell the truth.
I am here to learn, but also just share the mistakes and learn new things. So I'm excited.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes.
So let's get right into it. You know, the first time I heard about sleep training, I heard about Gina Ford. And I read the book a bit. I was like, this is too strict for me. And I remember telling myself, if I ever have twins, then I'll get this sleep training book. So I got a lighter book, and I did a lot of online research. And, you know, I was like, you know what? I'm going to sleep train. Because one of my mentors told me, your children come to join your world. I hope I get it right. And not, you know, you fitting into their world.
Can you shout her?
I know, right?
Because the people in the back have not heard that.
So do you apply for a job in your company? To be your number 2?
Please. You're welcome. You're already, with just that line alone, you're already in.
Add volume.
And you know, I just want to throw it out there before we get into the sleep training. I thought I was a sleep training expert mom.
Okay.
Because I have 4 boys. The first 2, man, I was high on that horse. Like, you know, by I think 6 weeks, you know, with the guidance I had, the boy was sleeping 11 p.m. to like 5 in the morning. Then when they started eating, they started sleeping through the night. And at 6 months, they were out of my room. And I had my 3rd born.
Yeah.
and it just didn't work. And I was like, Allah, did I show off too much? My husband was like, you showed off too much. I'd be like, do you pray? How can you not sleep train? Kind of thing. I was like, that's the Lord just dealing with you.
Yes.
So maybe as we get into it, maybe we first deal with the first part. Is it dependent on the child?
Sleep training is always dependent on the parent.
Oh.
Always, forever. So it doesn't matter how your child is or who your child is personality-wise. It doesn't matter. You can sleep train the child. Sleep training is like any form of training.
So true.
And just because you're not getting the result that you want doesn't mean you're not sleep training.
But I think for me, the notion is just like hers. I thought it was my kids just don't know how to sleep on time.
Nobody
and they don't
does.
have a schedule.
Yeah.
Now, as
But
they're
did you
older,
try to put them on a schedule?
I did.
Yes.
I actually did. We would they would sleep for 2 hours and then wake up, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's me who's doing something wrong, or they're not. The way you're told the myth, you're not feeding them well, or the worst I think I tried was letting them cry it out.
Yes.
That broke my heart.
Yeah.
From there
mine
on
too.
is when I was like, you know what? They'll just do it on their own.
Yes.
Which I regret because it took us years to a point that for my oldest daughter, I had to get into bed with her so that she can sleep on time. And it drained me.
Yes.
And
I
gave me a lot of
can't
chills of
imagine.
having another child until today. I'm
That's
thinking,
right.
"Eh,
That's right.
going on that cycle again? No.
Yeah.
I wish we should have
And
met.
did you try any sort of program, do I call it, or any type of sleep training method? Or were you just like, okay,
Winging
baby
it.
sleep, don't wake up until...
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you thought your will was...
Yeah, I know that
That's
you
what you're
told
asking,
yes.
your
I know, Lord, over this child, thou shalt not.
Thou shalt sleep the whole night.
I know.
I did the child crying it out, broke my heart. Then someone told me, feed them later, which I found was making the baby uncomfortable. Then the soothing, oh, let me hold you to sleep.
Right.
But the baby's warmth and mommy's warmth. It took at the point that, especially with my last born child, I did the whole cradling, I hold you to sleep. Well, we developed a bad habit out of that, that I would black out and forget the baby. And the baby would end up sleeping the whole night.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
She would sleep the whole night, but when I'm around.
For every child I've had, how I do the sleep training, I do mine very simply. So first I know is it 3 or 4 things? You check if the baby is dry, are they well fed, which is also important. And then there's the aspect of like the temperature of the room and things like that. And then I think sleep training, there has to be consistency. So for me, that's my world, And so I'll make sure, how people say the child doesn't sleep the whole day, so they'll sleep at night. I also don't subscribe to that notion.
And
Or you deprive
that's
them
fake
sleep?
news.
Oh.
Yes, I think it is fake news
fake
because
news,
then they're
'cause
too
the more-
overstimulated, then they won't sleep.
Absolutely. And the more tired you are,
Yes.
any human, the more tired you are, the less you sleep well.
And the harder it is to even fall asleep.
The harder it is to fall
Yes.
asleep. Yeah.
And, I'm trying to say my steps, then I'd hand over to you, then you can guide us because you're the expert. So then what I do is that there's the specific time the child wakes up. So there has to be a bit of that routine. And then there's the morning naps, then, between the meals, the diaper change, etc. Because also a lot of moms, what they do is, the baby wakes up, maybe the baby has fallen asleep, you remember, oh, I didn't change the diaper. Then you're trying to change the diaper when they're asleep, or
They wake
it's
up,
just all over the place. But it has to be the wake, change diaper, feed, and most times you're tempted to feed. I also change diaper first before I feed, and then now you can put them down, and that's like 0 to 6 where the cycle is like that. Then of course, as the child gets older, you add play.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious. How do these steps look like for you? When I read like Gina Ford and all these books, what you later come to find is that a lot of these notes, even what you find online, is A, of course, not set in Kenya. B, we have nannies, most of these guys don't. C, most of it is these people were nannies before, so they're not dealing with the aspect that you need to bond with a child. So when they tell you don't look into the child's eyes, don't overhold the baby.
That one is insane.
I know, right?
No eye contact. Leave the room quietly.
I know. know.
Yeah.
And then you think about the Kenyan context, where when those first 3-4 critical months, I'm also like, I have my mom in love coming in, my mom, her friends.
Sisters.
They're like,
Yes.
ati mtoto amelala siwezi muona, bring that baby.
Yes.
You know,
Mwamshe.
so how does it fit? Because Kenya is different,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So how does it fit when I think about the things that are different about us, you know? Because I'll also go back to work at some point.
Absolutely.
Maybe I'll work late and a nanny needs to carry on with the sleep training. Then what?
My biggest selling point, and I get this from anecdotes from past clients, is that it works for them in Kenya. It's an African program. And that was my main thing. When I sleep trained my daughter 10 years ago, I used technology that was Western.
Yeah.
And I tweaked it to fit my life. I am not a follow I'm not a follow babe.
Yes.
I'm a lead babe, right? So I said, this is not going to work, this is going to work, this is not going to work, like this, like that. And that's how I developed this program. A lot of the information that we consume about babies is primarily from 2 countries, which is so unfortunate.
I think so.
Because I have trained babies from all over. Did you know that Indian babies sleep in something that looks like a hammock? They don't sleep flat because it's good for their spine. So a lot of information and media that we consume is Western.
Oh,
Do you consume any Eastern Eastern media?
Actually.
And Eastern
about
medicine
it,
is much, much older than Western.
Of course.
Okay?
Yeah.
So having to understand, yes, you're telling me that your child is feeding 80 ml of milk. I'll ask you, nobody measures milk. It is very few people who have the wherewithal to measure milk. When it's coming from your body,
You just
can't measure.
Yeah.
So leave that one.
Yes.
Talking about wake windows, nobody measures that. We don't measure that.
It's true.
The baby is awake. The baby is asleep. And there
That's
are
it.
millions and millions of babies in the world. They are not all the same.
Yeah, it's true.
They're not all the same. So you're like, oh no, I should not put the baby to sleep on their back because da-da-da. Or I should not put the baby to sleep on their
it's
side. I'm
funny I was
like,
going there.
millions of babies,
that's
sleep
true.
on their stomach.
Yes.
Millions sleep in hammocks.
Imagine.
Millions sleep on people's back.
Back, yeah.
With a lot of movement as the mother.
We're not all the
cows
same.
Or whatever.
Yes.
We're
No,
not
it's
all the same.
Yeah.
The premise is eat well, work out.
Yeah.
I think the reason why I didn't follow up with Gina Ford's book is because I felt it was so westernized.
Too far removed.
Yes, I was like, okay, I don't feel like I can put it in my life.
Yes.
Especially being African, then you being Kenyan, we have all these cultures of
Yes.
your mother tells you do this, your mother-in-law tells you do this. I felt it was too much for me at that time to.
Yeah.
That's why I just let it and said, you know what? Let me focus with what I can do especially as a new mother and a young mother. We were told you cipher all that information because if it's gonna stress you, then what?
Then what's the
You're
point?
tired. The baby's
What's the
tired.
point? Yeah.
It becomes worse. Yeah, so it's
I
good
get
to know.
you.
Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah.
You know, you brought
there's
up,
hope.
I know, right? She brought up the aspect of whether the baby sleeps on the back or the
Yes.
stomach.
Yeah.
And I remember the blessing it was for me learning that I can put the baby on the stomach.
Yes.
Because again, I was reading a lot of the foreign data.
Yes.
And it
And
all
it's all
came
from one place.
It was all saying, you know, because of the what do they call it?
Seeds.
Seeds.
Yeah.
So they're like, you know, don't put the baby on the stomach.
Yeah.
And even in hospital here, they won't let you do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then one day a friend of mine tells me, oh, why don't you try to have your baby sleep on your stomach? I could not believe like how much longer the baby would sleep.
I tell that to my
and
clients
their
and they're
neck
like,
would
what?
be stronger and things like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, you know, so I was like, you know, I'll just train the nannies what to do to make sure the bed is firm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no fabric cut and things like that.
Yeah.
And I was totally sold to the stomach. And you know, it was
right.
just like the older women are the ones who tell you, they're like, no, that's how we
doing?
raised you guys.
That's
You
right.
on the stomach.
That's right.
You know?
That's true.
Medicine keeps changing.
Yeah, but I guess some things need to remain the same because if
Yeah.
our moms did that for us, then
Yes.
why not? You
Yeah.
know. So I don't know if how do you handle that, or do you at that point let the parent do what works? Like if you are thinking the stomach is what works and someone comes and says, no, the doctor said back, do you tell them, okay, so our chairs?
No, I mean, they ask me what position should I put my baby in, and I tell them what position is your baby most comfortable in.
Because there's that as well.
That's what's the position. I don't know your baby. You know your baby. What's the most comfortable position? Oh, they're very comfortable on their stomach. But my doctor said ABCD. And I'm like, you know what? Your doctor can say ABCD because the doctor has studied medicine.
Yes.
The doctor has not studied sleep. Trust me. Try it on the way you try on a jacket. And if you don't like it, you take it off. But try it. You want something different.
That's true.
Be prepared to do something different.
And if it works, you adopt it, I guess.
It will work because your baby is most comfortable on their stomach.
No, that's very interesting. And moving deeper into the sleep training, and I know we need to take a break. I'm just curious, and even from you, did you end up reaching a certain age and your child just slept through the night anyway? And so from you, I'm asking, you know, is there that age?
5 years?
One was 5, at least I tried. She said like 3.
Yeah, so is there that age? If you sleep train or not, the child will sleep. And also to ask, you know, I remember doing a parenting class once and they said, you know, when it comes to, you know, either the spanking and the training of the child, we have a window. And at some point, that window closes. And I think they said around 10 years or thereabout. Like if you haven't done a lot of work, then it's really tough. So is there that age you reached and your kids were fine, and then for you, Kit, is there an age, like someone comes at you, I'm bringing you my 5-year-old, you're like, hey, the window closed.
I know.
You go first.
For me, is my kids eventually adapted to sleeping through. It's by the grace. I always say it's by the grace of God. I think it reached a point just God said, "Whoa, let me help you, my child."
Yeah, you are looking tired.
Exactly. Once by 5, she was good. My last born, she's by 2, 3 there, because now she was taking from over for her sister, because I put them both in the same room. So like, oh yeah,
she's taking her lead.
Yes. Like, okay, wait. At this time, we're supposed to go to sleep. Oh yeah, let me too. You know how kids get excited by following their older sibling? If you did a good job with the first one, then that one follows suit quite well. But
even
I think
with discipline, I think.
Yes, that's true. Everything just falls in place. Because my younger one will not do what the older one is doing. Now the problem comes is when the older one misbehaves, the younger one follows suit. So you have to put them on both discipline till by day. Both of you, I'm spanking. If it's 3 hot ones, 3 hot ones for everyone. But when it came to sleep, I think for me, my older one just eventually started sleeping. I discovered sometimes she would not maybe be play enough or get out. I'm the kind of parent that the notion for me is wachoke kabisa, you know. And the point that they're hitting the head on the pillow is lights out. That's what I did. I think that's the only thing that worked for me, I can say. And I slept until today is...
How old was that?
5.
Oh, yeah, it's the 5. The 5
Yeah, 5. I'm
got
sorry.
it, got it. No, don't be sorry.
Oh, so the oldest was 5. The older girl was 5 and the younger one was...
Yes, was
3.
3.
Okay.
2.5, 3 before she turned 3, So it was very follow suit. But I think I thank God for my older child. That's a given. Because the second one, I'm thinking, hey, it was a breeze.
Yes.
But I think for me, just time. With time, they eventually started sleeping well.
Yeah.
Because I also think for children, they learn more by seeing, especially what us parents do. If I would notice, my daughter will tell me, like nowadays, even if I sleep late, my younger will tell me, Mama, it's time to sleep.
Okay.
So that means they're trained to understand by the clock hits 8, it's time to go to sleep. On holidays, you can have an extra hour of whatever it is you want to do. But like, it's time to sleep. So I think with time, but I wouldn't advise people to be like me. For me,
you suffer.
You suffer for so long. Hey, you become, then your kids refuse to sleep even when they're older.
Yes.
It becomes strenuous. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, I only train until 4 years old. I don't know if there's a window
Okay.
But I do know for sure the younger the child, the easier it is to teach them.
Okay.
Of course.
Once
Even with
they're-
other things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Once they're older now, now you are trying to rewire.
Yeah.
But when they're young,
But how
you're
do you-
It's a
only
blank
teaching.
book.
You're
Sorry?
only teaching.
For kids, like most mothers, especially with older kids, how would they cope? What can you tell them to cope, especially with children who are above
That's a good
5?
question.
You're thinking,
Honestly,
okay,
talk less. We talk so much, and especially as moms, we talk way too much, and children are both bored and irritated by talking. So the more you talk, the less they listen. But if the boundary is time for bed, and then it's you physically
stop.
going to
Yeah,
the bed,
yeah.
and you don't have to sleep, but you have to be in your
the bed.
bed.
You
Yes.
can stay there until
Yes.
the sleep
Yeah.
comes.
I think that's a critical
Yeah, so
step.
it's a lot of, it's more discipline, less sleep training.
Yes.
If
Yeah.
I would say that.
Yeah,
Yes.
I
So
agree.
the African style,
And
you go
I-
to sleep.
Yeah.
I'll beat you.
Yeah.
know.
Well, yeah, and also that one of sleep time is not punishment time.
Okay.
It's not drama time. It's a very boring, easy, we do this, then we do this, then we do that,
Yeah,
then we sleep.
yeah, because you shouldn't be overstimulating them at that time.
I'm not overstimulating. I'm not going to beat you so you can sleep.
Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
going to punish you. None of all these things.
So like having a
Again,
routine
more
would help
talking. You
towards
get-
that.
Yes.
Like brush your teeth,
Yes.
change your pajamas.
Yeah, we're
okay.
doing this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then we're going to
Prepare
bed.
the mind, okay.
Yeah, regardless
Yeah.
of how you are feeling about it,
Yes.
you can feel bad as we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can.
But you
pout.
just, and what you find is that
Yeah.
I think over time the kids don't, like they don't feel bad anymore. They
Yeah.
even remind
Yes,
you, they're like,
yeah.
I haven't brushed my teeth yet,
yeah.
Yeah.
da, 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 and
Yeah.
it's time to go to bed. And I think also it's interesting, someone told me to also wind down the babies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like when
Yeah.
it gets to a certain hour in the house, you know,
Yeah.
so there's no screen time, maybe
Yeah.
no bright lights
Yeah.
like what we have,
Yeah.
you know, and things like that. So then, especially when they're very little,
Yeah,
so then they
that's
know now it's dark time, which is
Yeah,
sleeping time. And during the
absolutely.
day, make sure curtains are
Yeah.
open, etc.
Yeah.
So their system also knows it's
Yeah.
day as well.
You as an adult, you don't want to have music and
Exactly.
being rocked and light music
Yes,
and
and
people
the
laughing.
dancing and
no,
everything, yeah.
you want to come down.
To wind
Human
down.
beings are like that.
Yeah, so when
Yeah.
we come back, I want us to talk about, I think you mentioned it, the cry it out.
Yes.
Yes.
I want us to talk about white noise.
Yes.
You guys must know
Yes.
about that.
Yes.
I'm very curious about that. You know, just all these other new age methods
Right.
that
Yes.
you know we use.
Yes.
Let me say we use, and to just see whether they really work. You don't want to go anywhere because when we come back, we'll be delving deeper into this sleep training. All these weird things that people do, and some not so weird that make a lot of sense. You know, do they really work, and should we do them? Do they affect the child in the long term? So keep it here on radio and TV right here on She. See you shortly.
We are living in a lost and broken world, constantly bombarded by messages of hate and atrocities. But with God, we can overcome. Find hope and restoration on the go through life-changing shows on the Family Media app.
And then you will lose yourself and gain the world. And Jesus said, what good is it?
Get to stream Family TV and Family Radio straight from your phone. Catch up on a show you missed or create video streaming playlists by saving and watching videos from our huge variety of shows at your own convenience. Download the Family Media app, available for all Android and iOS users on the Google Play Store and Apple Store respectively. Family Media, keeping Jesus on the air.
Welcome back. This is She. In case you're listening to us on radio, I hope you're just feeling the vibe in the room. We just noticed that both our guests have specs, so that gives you a bit of a picture of who we have. Amazing, beautiful women. And then, of course, there's me, and I know you know I'm pretty too.
Yes.
And if you're
Oh,
watching
yes.
us on TV, thanks for watching. I know you're seeing the full vibe. So we were talking about sleep training. We've gone through just the different experiences, what Christine has gone through, what Kit has gone through, you know, and just what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
So let's just go deeper into it. Have you tried Cry It Out, you know, and what do you think about it? You know, the other day I was watching some YouTube channel, and they're talking about the effects of cry out when children are old. I'm like, no wonder it felt so wrong when I did
Yes. Okay.
And I remember my husband was so for it. He's like, no, you know, like, because in my house, like, you come up with what you want for sleep training, and then he effects it because he's the farmer one. So I remember us trying Cry It Out, and it worked. Our son was older. He was our firstborn, and he was properly sleep trained. Then, like I said, we went to hospital, and when we got back home, like it was completely all messed. And I tried everything and it didn't work. Then someone was like, you know, if he's already sleep trained, you just need to get him back on that rhythm. So I was like, watch, I tried this Cry It Out. And they were like, Cry It Out, you don't need to do it for many days, especially if he was trained before. And by the way, it wasn't many days. I think it was 2 days. We did the first day, he cried, I think, for 10 minutes. The next day, he started crying.
Effective.
Then I think he went like, no one will hear me. And he slept.
It's
and that was it.
effective,
And he was back to his routine. Can you
Your
imagine?
heart didn't break?
No, the first day I questioned why I'm a mother.
Yes.
I told my folks why they lied to us and made motherhood look easy. You know, like I went through all those emotions. I told my husband, let me pick the baby is mine.
Yes.
You know.
Oh, yes.
But, you know, because I stood the ground, it worked. So reading that broke my heart. It affects how they connect with people and all those things. So maybe we find out if you sleep trained through Cry It Out. And then we also find out.
I tried.
If you did as well, and also the new research, if you think it's real.
For me, I did try it, and it broke my heart. I couldn't. My baby screamed her lungs out, and I was like, you know what? I'm not that kind of mom. Because at the back of it, you're thinking, you mother, you're leaving your child in a dark room by themselves. They're crying. How heartless can you get? You know, you have a cold heart. I remember, like, you know, that kind of spirit behind you, someone whispering all these mean things to you. So mine did not work at all.
Or did you do it for more than one day?
Well, one
Doesn't
day.
sound like.
Day two, we almost fought with my husband. He was like, no, let her be. No, let her. I'm like, no. I remember I gave birth to this child. I have stitches because of this child. I am picking my baby. Mimi, you know? And I don't know why, as moms, we always think, the dad has not gone through anything, so they don't have to have a say. But for me, it was more of, woye. And that point was a woishe mom, because it was my first baby, and I was like, no, I can't do that. Then much later, I'm grateful I didn't go through with it, because as just like you eventually you found out the effects. For me, I think it has worked for some people, but for me, it didn't work. For me, it didn't work, and especially when eventually my child was diagnosed with she had conversion disorder.
What does that mean?
Should get whenever she have a fever, she'd get conversions. They're called febrile conversions. So whenever with that in back, she could even have a conversion in her sleep. So for me, I felt I can't allow such kind of emotional trauma to her because there's this physical trauma she goes through when she's not well. And then I push her this emotional one. I was like, you know what? No, this is not for me. Unfortunately, I didn't have any other method. I just rode the waves until 5 years. Until five. But for me, no.
Cry It Out method is very effective, as you know.
For real.
It is very effective. It's
but
so
you have to be strong.
So the way I teach people, and I don't teach the Cry It Out method because a lot of people will not follow through. As like human beings, we are wired to react and respond to the sound of a crying baby.
And also the baby also, I think, is wired to also expect to be picked up, right?
Babies have to be picked up. Babies are picked up. Babies are human beings. We connect that way. But the way babies cry and the way we hear crying is not the same. Babies cry as a form of communication. We hear there's something wrong, alarm bells, there's something wrong. That's why we don't do the Cry It Out method, and that's why I don't teach it. Because you could feed the baby is dry and everything, and they're crying, and you're in the room and you still feel bad.
That's true.
You still feel like there's something wrong.
And you haven't done what's supposed to be done.
It's very effective. I trained both my children Cry It Out method. I was never the quintessential or literal first time mom. I don't believe in that label. I find it's used to make you
To console you.
Not console you, to give you an excuse to be
bad
unknowledgeable,
habits,
lazy, or not lazy. I don't mean lazy, I mean anything goes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. There's nothing I know. I'm a first-time mom.
Yeah, and
You know,
that's what I
there's
mean to
no-
console you. Like you
there's-
console yourself, like
Literally,
I don't
it
know, but
consoles
it's
you.
fine.
And
yeah.
there's literally no male
Yeah.
equivalent. There's no first-time dad.
Oh yeah, there is.
There isn't.
Yeah.
And they are first-time dads.
Yes,
But they
they
don't
are.
talk that way about themselves.
Well,
Yeah,
you're
so
right.
I'm always telling moms, you're a mom.
Yeah.
Just
full
go
stop.
with confidence. You know what to do.
Yeah.
Instinct. You know what to do.
And it's true.
Yeah, so talking about the studies, again, all the media we consume is from this one place.
Yeah.
It's all from one place. It's
Yeah.
very unfortunate.
Maybe
and
we
it's
need
harmful.
to do a Kenyan research. And
Yeah.
Kenyan research. Let us do a Chinese research. Let us do Madagascar. Let us do all these places. The world is so big. We all read this much information. It's not okay. It's quite
it is
harmful.
Yeah.
No, I think so.
Yeah, and
I
it
think
makes us
so.
feel bad as Africans
Yeah.
that we are spanking kids. Oh, they're going to now
Yeah.
grow up. No, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, we
It's
told
true,
you,
like
we
how
just not going to
disturb
happen.
children if you
Read.
spark them.
I
Like,
know.
It's actually just not going to happen. Yeah.
You know, I was seeing, and I know I'm just saying my own things here, but I was seeing this IG joke the other day, and they're showing an African, it started with a British, I think, like Mzungu mom.
Yes.
You know, just the son, I think, is gonna like drop himself, like commit suicide.
Yes.
And the son goes like, Mom, I'm gonna jump. And the mom is like, son, please don't jump. The gifts you want, I'm gonna get them for you. Son, please come down, let's talk. I'm sorry I didn't get you the chocolate. Son, please listen to
All of
me.
these things.
And then they show an African mom.
Oh,
jump.
Yeah, jump.
It's
tea time. I beg. In fact, let me give you a Maasai show, because Maasai is jump. So that when you jump in character. I was so tickled by it. But I think it's, in essence, the tough love today.
Tough love, yeah.
That I guess has, and you know, this has not come up even in the previous season when we were talking about pregnancy and everything. And I think sadly we forget that we have to raise our children in this continent and that we are African.
Yes. Context.
Yes.
Yes, in this context.
And we're raising them to
Exactly.
live outside our home in this
context.
context.
Yes, yes. And you know, it's so sad because then we don't preserve our culture. And a lot of
Yeah.
our culture is so good, you
Yes.
know.
Yes, it has worked.
Amazing.
And you know, because I've said that,
Yes.
I know you guys will think I'm a trickster, but anyway, it
we
leads to
go.
my next question. To have your baby in the room or have them out? Because I know that's a big factor of sleep training.
Yes.
Also,
I mean, go ahead.
as Africans.
ask-
No, I was just
ask
going to say,
another
because
one.
also as Africans,
Yes.
you know, that could mean different things
Yeah. Yeah.
because of how our parents raised us, etc. So I'm just
Yeah.
curious, what do you think and how has it been for
Yeah.
you? Because I know for different homes, different parents, it's different things. And you know what I'm saying, different parents. If you hadn't said what you said earlier, I would have been saying different moms.
moms.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so different parents. We are changing as we go.
Yeah.
So I don't know, any of you can go first. Like,
so
what your thoughts are?
the way that I teach is there's so many children who do not have the privilege of having a different room.
It's true.
They don't even have the privilege of having a different bed.
Yeah.
It's so true.
So we can go ahead and talk about all these nice things that we
Yes.
read
They
in
do give us
Western
but it's true.
media.
Yes, the
Yeah.
court needs to be
court,
see how.
But
done.
the truth of the matter is very many families all live in one space.
Yeah.
This is the bedroom, it's the living room, it's the bathroom, it's everything.
Yeah.
Can you still sleep train in that space? Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
And this is how to do it. Back to the eat well, work out.
Yeah.
Now, how to do it is, but everybody. My children slept in my room until 6 months. I've never slept with a baby in my bed. I didn't know that was a possibility until I started
Until, yeah.
hearing other people
Other
telling me
people
they
have
sleep
done
with
it.
it. I'm like, but how? But I don't get it. How do you sleep?
So I can
don't
tell
even
you,
yeah.
I never slept with a baby in my bed for, you know, I have 4 babies, so I guess
Yes.
I have a very,
You
very
have
research here.
Very wide group.
So for my first 3, never did in my own bed.
Yeah.
But my 4th CS was so bad. So you see, for sleep training to be effective for me, it has to be that when the baby cries, they're in my room for the first 6 months.
Yes.
And for sleep training to be effective, when they wake up for the night feed, you have to get out of the bed, sit on the rocking chair, or the chair you have, and feed the baby, then put them back in the cot. But now, because this 4th CS was so bad, it was a nightmare to even sit up in my own bed. So that's how I learned the skill of even lying down and feeding the baby. You know, because I got scared how I'd do that, you know, because I have a big bus. I was sure I would block the baby's nose. Because anyway, my friends think I'll block the baby's nose.
The entire continent feeds lying down.
I know, right?
Everybody feeds lying down.
And I was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I discover this earlier?
And this is why I was saying dads have to be involved. It was never my job as mom to get up and get the baby.
Same here.
It was never my job. It's your job. You get the baby
and give the
baby to me. And when I'm done, you take the baby back.
But I think like what you're saying is the partnership as well. And if you're talking about that partnership, and I know you haven't answered your question, is how do we do that partnership if the mother is single as well?
Absolutely.
Or the husband works late, or the husband travels, you know? Do you have those sort of clients, and how do you handle that?
I do have those sort of clients. And in the beginning, you mentioned nannies and mothers and whatever. I always ask, who else is in the house raising this baby with you? It's so and so and so and so. Bring them to the class. It's not a class just for you. It's a class for everybody raising this baby.
Home, so if it's a couple, it's not just the mother, it's the mother and the father.
Everybody. And the nanny. And the mom. Let them hear it directly from me. Because when you go and tell them, they'll tell you, no, Christine. You understand? Let me tell you why it won't happen. Because I'm the one who knows. I'm telling you.
It's true.
But when they hear it directly from the professional, everybody buys in. And everybody does it. So in this context, in this continent, I have not had somebody who is alone.
Yeah, that's true.
There's always someone.
I think that's the blessing of this continent.
Yes, there is always someone. So that partnership, who else is there? The nanny is there. Give the baby to the nanny, get out. Get out of the house, go. Because the crying, the constant crying, you've done everything. Now you're running mad. Go to a place where you can't hear the baby crying. Rest,
because also
come
your
back.
hormones are playing games with you.
So you hear baby crying, you start leaking.
You start leaking.
Let's
even
talk
as
about it, because
with
the infection.
You will start leaking now.
You see our proper demonstration right here on She.
I know.
So true.
And that's how we solve all our babies' problems as well, right? We feed them. Socks are too tight, you feed them. Hot,
unfortunately.
You feed them. So even when they are crying because they're full, what are you going to do? You feed them. So we are always in a vicious circle that we can't get out of. And then Kit comes. You find Kit somewhere, you hire her, she helps you, and you're like,
this was easy.
Where have you been all our lives?
Give me money. You know what? For anybody else who tells me, I wish I knew, where have you been? I'll ask them for 1 shilling so that I see how much I can gather.
So true, so true. Christine, you have to share your experience.
My firstborn, 6 months, were out of the room. Because I think it was... At that time, I just felt like I need to do what other moms are doing. Because I was like, I was being told, baby showers, this is what you do, 6 months. The last born, where everything went out of the window. I think at that point, I was really tired and exhausted because the pregnancy was a bit more difficult than the first one. So it ended up like you find out I'm sleeping. I gave birth normally, but my body did not recover as fast. So I ended up sleeping, breastfeeding the baby. Then I forget. With this, I made that mistake of sleeping. I would wake up instead of going sit on the chair to breastfeed. I'm like, I'm tired. Let me just breastfeed them while we're sitting. We ended up falling asleep. And we ended up almost a year of sleeping in the same bed with me. And I think my husband was patient. He was like, okay, we need to stop this because we also need our lives back together. And I was like, I'm not going to rush you, but we'll do it gradually. Was it not torture? The baby cried.
Baby feeling bad, mommy feeling
bad. Because we even, at one point, by 3 months, she didn't want to sleep in the cot. You'd put her down, comfort out, lights out in 10 minutes. I'm like, come I know how to sleep train. Little did I
No,
know.
you do.
Hey, it worked to some extent.
I guess you do.
did.
No, you
To
do.
that extent.
To that
yes.
extent.
Absolutely.
Now when she became like 2 and 2.5, no, we have to move her.
That is now a grown person.
Hey, I'm like, no. It reached a point, the only way we'd now make her sleep is she sleeps on the bed.
Yeah.
At that around 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Then
Then you
the
take
dad
her.
will come pick her and take her to her bed. Isn't that such a long cycle?
Yeah.
But to me, I felt like, okay, at least there's one down. I'm not gonna pressure myself. Let me just take one day at
You
a
have to be
time.
kind to yourself.
I told
like your
myself
energy.
that.
Yeah, you have to be kind to yourself.
No, I'm a
Because
baby
in this
girl.
life,
I
you
have
don't
to-
suffer.
I know, baby girl, treat myself like a baby girl. My husband would complain, but she's like, okay, fine, I'll go. I'll be patient.
But did he die?
No.
Yeah. Then
Yeah,
It's not
the
there.
baby will be fine as well.
But I think for what I would tell other women, just be consistent with what is comfortable for you. And sleep training it'll be hard maybe the first 1 week or the first few days, but after that you're good.
Yeah.
Don't be like us who suffered for years. And I'm thinking if I ever get another child,
Yeah. And Christine, can I encourage you? Can I say that you did exactly what you were supposed to do?
Oh.
And what you did was good and right.
oh, thank you.
The
I feel like
result,
I failed.
no, you didn't fail at anything.
No, you didn't.
You did
yeah.
what you were supposed to do. It was
Yeah.
good and right.
Yeah.
The result that you wanted is
Yeah.
not what you got.
Yeah.
And now if you want a different result, you do something different.
Different, that's
but
true.
don't beat yourself up and say, oh, I did something bad, I failed. Don't
I
speak
think
about
as
that way
moms, we
about
need
yourself.
to hear that more often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes
'Cause
we
mom
want,
guilt is real.
Yeah. You may really want to follow something, but first time round it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Don't beat yourself
Don't
up.
beat yourself up. You know what?
I would say-
With the information that you had,
Yes.
you did,
You did what you
correctly.
thought was right,
Yes.
yeah.
And I always tell younger moms, there's no award by the
No, there is
at the best mom of the year. You did
mom who
everything I
slept
could.
1 hour for 3 years.
Yeah. No, there's no.
It's so true.
It's
Yeah.
do your best.
Yes.
Yeah.
You need to pick
Do your
up or
best.
learn new habits
Yes.
that are gonna make the environment better. Good for you.
That's true.
But hakuna award ya kusafa.
No.
Hakuna.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I guess
Yes.
sleep training is good because it gives you more sanity.
Yes. Yes.
I like it because at some point in the night, at 8 p.m. in our house, we can say all babies are washed, fed,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
all asleep.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
then
it's now your
now
time.
some of the things we were talking about on break, then we can now start talking about sex, intimacy, because
Yeah.
there's a husband, and a
Yeah.
wife.
He also wants
that
attention.
you're not just mom and dad.
Yeah.
There's all
You
these other
are
things
faith,
you
yeah.
are,
Yeah.
right? So sleep training helps you. You have a job. You have
Yes.
to wake up the next day and go to work.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then it helps with some of those things.
Yeah.
And we should talk more about that. You have to wake up the next day and go to work. When you're a stay-at-home mom, you never have a day off.
Well,
Yeah.
it's true. It's
You
true.
never have a day
Yeah,
off.
because even when you're on leave, you're still working.
Yeah.
Too many stay-at-home
24-hour
moms.
shift.
Too many stay-at-home moms take on the burden of nighttime childcare because their husband has to get up and go to work.
Yeah.
But
They
she has
are
to get up.
always. They are always working.
Yeah.
That's so
Share
true.
parenting.
That is
Yeah.
so true.
100% share parenting.
Yeah.
I think we feel guilty being a stay-home mom. You're like thinking, okay, this person has to wake up and go. Me, I'm around. I can sneak in an hour of sleep.
Can you?
Impossible.
No, because you're saying I can.
With babies.
Can you?
Yeah,
When
it's
I-
true.
When have you ever? When have you ever? I
know, and-
Everybody put up their hand if they have ever taken a nap.
I know.
it's never good
Also,
nap.
the conversations you have to have is with children.
Literally.
Yeah.
The work that you have involves
Yeah.
so much because it's also your babies. It's
Yeah.
not work that you close that box
Yes.
and
Yes,
come
and
home.
leave.
This box for you, especially
Yes.
as a woman,
Yeah.
is open from
24
8 to
hours.
8,
All the
right?
time.
So it's
24/7.
yeah, hats off to every stay-at-home mom. I was raised by a
Thank you.
stay-at-home mom,
I
so hats
don't
off
know.
to
I
you,
don't know how
Christina.
people are doing it.
Thank you. Tell me
Yeah.
And that you
feels
get
good.
to still look this amazing.
Madness.
I know, right?
Girl, baby
Yeah,
girl.
yeah. You have to be a
We
baby
always
girl.
have, yeah.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, yes, our kids and our husbands and will come in between. But once mom is okay,
Yeah.
Everybody's
imagine everything
okay.
else.
Yeah, that's what my
Yeah,
mother
yeah.
told
Yeah.
me. The
Yeah.
biggest
Mom is
lesson
okay.
my mom said was put yourself first.
Yeah.
When you put yourself first, you as kid,
Yeah.
everything else fits into your life
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
And
You're
everybody
even
is
able
just
to handle.
better
That's true.
adjusted.
Yeah,
I think
that's
so.
true.
Yeah.
I think so
Yeah.
because I think the other day one of my kids asked, so, Mommy, do women run this world? You know, that's a question you have to answer properly.
Yes.
Because I'm raising boys.
Yes.
And I don't know where he came up with that from.
Yes.
Because, you know, like I was telling you guys earlier, I just lost my dad.
Yeah.
And also, I remember them seeing my husband crying and going like, Mommy, do men cry? I'm like, where are my children getting all these
these
notions
questions,
from?
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and
The
so
world
just to be
teaches
able,
children for
yes,
you, yeah.
so you have to teach them all these things, so then they understand. You know that yes, men cry,
Yeah.
and you know,
And yes, women run the world.
yeah, I was just going to say, I need to get a way of saying this, so depending on who watches, if my husband
you
is
always-
watching,
you always
I need
say,
him to know that he can
Yeah,
think he's
absolutely.
running it,
Yeah,
but I am
behind the scenes.
I am submitting, but I am running
You
it.
say, yes, women do run the world,
Yes.
and yes, men do run the world. It's a
Yes.
partnership.
Yeah.
It's true, and we complement each other.
complement
Yeah, that's
You know,
true.
we are about to close this show, but I just want to.
I'm
I
not
know
leaving.
you don't have to.
I'm never leaving.
We can do part 2.
Yes.
I'll most definitely call you for part 2. And I just want to hear you talk about what has been. You know, we've talked about so many highs and lows of sleep training. In wholesomeness, because at the end of the day, you're being a mom.
Yes. Yeah.
What would you say has been the highlight? Let's encourage moms listening who are like, actually, I'm never getting children at this rate.
Wow, yeah.
But what has been that highlight? You know, like at the end of the day, when you're going to sleep, despite mom guilt, stretch marks,
Yes.
eat and gym, you know,
yes.
whatever it is,
Yeah.
and wondering whether you rule.
Yeah.
But what has been that highlight that you would pick as a mom?
For me, with my kids, is the highlight of the hugs. I love hugs. I think, one of my love languages is physical touch. My kids give the most amazing hugs. And you know that I saw someone, I think on TikTok, the reason why you hug someone is you're completing yourself. Our heart's on the left, the person you're hugging is on the right. So you have two hearts. Yes, if you give a genuine hug. So for me, the highlight is, regardless of how the day was crazy and screaming 10 times, go to bed, go brush your teeth. Then I come, we have a routine hug, kiss me on the cheek or on the forehead and pray and go to sleep.
Wow.
That's the things that just make me feel like, yeah, at least I have done something. In
right.
this world, I've left a mark. As a mom, you just look at I think for all moms around the world, or in Kenya particularly, let's sit down and just look at our kids. Just look at your child and smile.
See what you created.
Yes, that moment of just staring at that beautiful face. Oh, it melts your heart. Even when you're like when I have a hard day, I'm like, my older daughter is a bit chubby, so I tell her, I love your hugs. Please hug me. Then she looks at me and like, okay, come. And she comes waddling to me and gives me the most amazing hugs. Yeah, I love the waddle. I love the waddle. So people say she walks like me, so I love it.
That's a cute.
Yes, and it's just so warm. And that's for me, that's a highlight. That don't give up. You're doing something right.
Yes.
Even when that day, if you're sleep training, it fails, don't worry.
You're doing good.
You will look back and smile because the results will eventually come through.
That's true.
That's my highlight.
Wow, that's for goosebumps. I've had so many goosebump moments in this show.
I see you. I'm the opposite. I don't like being touched.
Oh, wow.
At all. In fact, I established, what's it called? Cuddle time. With my children because they know to not touch me.
For real?
Yeah, I don't like being touched at all. Even when I was a baby, my parents tell stories of they would pick me up, they would feed me Nini, and then I'd be like,
Oh, then they put you down.
Then they put me down and I'm
you're
happy.
okay.
Somebody wants to come pick me up, I'm like, why?
Oh, wow.
They're just some people like that.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you said that, you know, because in case there's someone out there who's like, gosh, am I weird?
No,
Yes,
there are
that's
very
true.
many people like
Yeah.
that. And we are married with children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We make funny things. Funny
And my
thing.
husband's love language is physical touch.
Yeah.
This thing about
So
people
I tell
getting
him-
opposite. Because my
Yes.
husband said, like, why are you not hugging me today? He's like,
Absolutely. So I tell him, let me touch you.
yeah.
But when you touch me, now I start to feel overtouched.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So my highlight for me
Yes.
is when my children say thank you. Being a mom is very thankless.
Yeah.
That's why we were drum rolling for ourselves. Who's going to drum roll for you?
You have to by force.
It's so
Give yourself a
normal.
stand-up ovation.
Yeah, this free childcare is normalized. Nobody sees
Like
it.
it's a guarantee that you should
You are
do
there.
it.
Yeah, nobody sees it. Nobody truly appreciates how deep it is. When you're removed, that's when now they see the magnitude
of what you're doing,
of what you do.
Yeah.
But the day to day is kind of invisible.
Yeah, that's true.
So when my children turn around and say, Mama, thank you,
It melts your way.
Yeah. I
That emotional
know.
part comes out. Yes.
Oh, that's
I
amazing.
feel so good.
Oh, that's good.
And when my husband says, wow, you're such a good mom.
And I
And I
also
thank you.
just want to thank you both for the great work you're doing as moms.
Oh, thank
A friend of mine once told me, even as we close, that when God was, just figuring out who to give which child, like he just, said, these 3 come to you, Christine.
Yes.
These 2 come to you.
Yes.
These 4 come to you. And because so many times I think you're like, man, I'm not doing well with this child. But imagine in the grand scheme of things, with our God who's all-knowing, he was like, Faith, you'll just be the one to raise those 4 boys.
Yes.
Because there are times I'm like, man, maybe just give me a girl to put flowers on. It's like a little easier.
Oh, yeah.
But it's so amazing to just be reminded that in God's plan, he knew 4 boys would be the
Perfect.
best, you're 3, you're 2,
Yes.
and I think that should encourage any mom.
Yeah.
And I just feel in my heart to also say, you might be watching and you don't have children yet, or you're trying for children and it's not working.
Yeah.
We don't give ourselves these children. We could also sit here and be like, am I 2? And maybe you just coughed and had them.
Yes.
But I know in this day and age how difficult it can be to have children.
Yes.
So I just also want to encourage you that, these children come from God.
Yeah.
And I pray in Jesus' name that he gives you babies if that's the desire of your
Amen.
heart. That one day you'll be able to sit somewhere, even though not in a show, and share your sleep training stories and
that's right.
licking milk stories and
That's
all
right.
everything that comes with being a
Yes.
mom. And that's my prayer for you.
amen, amen.
And before we close, we are celebrating the 25 years that family has been around, which is a long time. It's like an adult, which is a blessing in God's eyes. And we're just grateful for Family Media. So if you're out there and you'd like to be a partner, please send us a text to 20316. And the text should say, partner, and we'll come back to you and give you all the details. And if you'd like to give maybe a one-off gift or a consistent gift, please just share those details not share the details, please send your contribution to 316 and then put in your name in the section of account number. So 316 as a pay bill, and on the bottom section, put in your name. We love when you give, you keep us here on air, and so we thank you if you're out there and you're giving. We thank you if you're out there and you're a mom and you're doing a great job, even though you're a guardian.
Yes.
They are your own, physical babies, biological babies. Yes, and we thank the dads too, because we've learned that. This has been She. It's been so late. See you next week right here, TV and radio on She. God bless you.